Pause. Take a breath. What you're about to hear isn't just a message. It's a moment your soul has been waiting for. If you've ever felt like you didn't quite fit into this world, like you were born for something more, something ancient, something powerful, then this isn't just for you. This is you. You didn't scroll here by chance. You were guided, marked, aligned. Some of you have been sensing it. Something shifting, something stirring deep in your spirit that you can't quite explain. That's not anxiety. That's not your imagination. That's the call, the divine appointment, the signal that your time is no longer coming. It's here. This is where everything starts to make sense. The pain, the delays, the isolation. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Because not everyone was built for this. Not everyone is chosen to break the patterns, heal the bloodline, and walk with the kind of authority that doesn't ask permission. But you were. You carry something rare, something sacred. And the moment you decide to stop doubting it, everything changes. So if your spirit is on fire right now, if your chest feels heavy and your eyes want to tear up for no reason, lean in. That's your confirmation. You're not crazy. You're waking up. Before we go any further, hit that like, share this with someone you know feels different too, and subscribe so you never miss what your soul's been craving. Type 55 in the comments if you feel this. That's your signal, your declaration, the moment you step fully into alignment. Because what's about to come next, it's not content, it's activation, a remembering. And once you hear it, you won't be the same again. Let's begin. This is just the beginning. Hit subscribe now and step into your calling. Your breakthrough starts here. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $100 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom, for you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. Something has always felt slightly out of step, not loud or obvious, more like an undertone, a hum beneath the rhythm of daily life. While others seem content to move in loops, you've sensed something pulling at the edges of your awareness, like a soft pressure that never fully fades. It isn't discomfort. It's a quiet insistence, like you were built for something deeper than what the surface offers. You tried to silence it once, kept pace with the noise, adapted to what was expected, wore what they called normal like it fit. But it didn't. The applause felt hollow, the structure felt too tight, and inside, a flicker kept pulsing, an unrest that wasn't fear, but remembrance. It wasn't rebellion for the sake of resistance. It was the mind trying to forget what the spirit still remembered. Eventually, you started seeing it everywhere, in glances that didn't reach the soul, in the routines people called life. You noticed how many were numbing, not living, and slowly, a gap opened between where you were and where your truth lived. The illusion stopped holding. The mask grew too heavy. And late at night, or in quiet corners, you started feeling something trying to speak to you. Not in words, but in a kind of knowing. It appeared in places you couldn't explain, in the pull of old symbols, in the ache of songs that seemed to sing directly to your core. You'd feel tears rise without a name for them. Feel your chest tighten when no one else noticed the moment. It wasn't sadness, it was recognition. a call beneath the skin, a spark waking in your bones. People may have misunderstood you, labeled your depth as too much, but that's only because they don't see what you do. You weren't built to walk blind. You weren't designed to dim. You came here with eyes meant to open, with a map coded into your being, one only the brave ever follow. That pull, that whisper, it's not distraction, it's direction. There's a signal you've been tuning into your whole life. It's older than language, older than names, buried deep beneath habits and conditioning. When you feel it clearly, it's like standing at the edge of something vast and forgotten. You remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You recall a strength you didn't earn because it's always been yours. And even if it shakes you, it steadies you too. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. This isn't about chasing more in the way they define it. It's about stepping into what you are made of. That call isn't looking for the perfect, it's seeking the willing. And even if you feel unsure, even if you feel like you're standing at the edge of something too big to name, that's exactly where you're meant to be. Because readiness has never been about certainty. It's about the choice to answer. When the world feels too small for your spirit, that's not a flaw, it's confirmation. The time to wake up isn't tomorrow, it's now. The pattern is shifting, the signal is stronger, and the door is already open. You can turn away and try to forget again, or you can follow that pull and step into the story that has been waiting for you to begin it. It starts with a pause in the rhythm, like a moment of breath between beats, where something in you begins to question the patterns you were handed. You've been searching, hoping for someone to hand you a framework, a step-by-step process, a sign that you're not walking in circles. But nothing solid appears. No elder with answers, no signposts to follow. Just flickers, images in your sleep, thoughts that come in quiet hours, feelings you can't explain. And while the world might call that lost, there's a knowing deep inside that whispers, this is not confusion, this is creation beginning. You keep asking where the directions are, why everything looks so unmarked, but you're starting to realize there is no one-size-fits-all trail. There's no template to trace. The old systems weren't designed for who you're becoming. The truth is, what you're building has never existed before, and that's why it doesn't look familiar. You are not following a path. You are drawing it with each step you take. It's tempting to believe the old belief that certainty equals safety, that clarity means control. But your clarity won't come from repetition. It comes from trust. And trust doesn't always walk in daylight. Sometimes it walks blind. You are learning to move by inner gravity, by the weight of what resonates. You're moving not because you see the outcome, but because you feel the call. Others may not understand why you refuse to stay in the safe lanes, why you walk away from the usual and run toward the uncertain. But that's because your compass is internal. It isn't broken, it's just tuned to a different frequency. You were not made to mimic, you were made to manifest, to shape something that's never existed by listening to what no one else hears. The uncertainty that presses on you is not a trap. It's the raw space where originality takes shape. All the icons, the thinkers, the visionaries, they didn't wait for confirmation. They became confirmation. They didn't lean on the known, they reached into the invisible. And you're being asked to do the same. You've been told to wait for permission, for a blueprint, for someone to tell you it's okay to begin. But the truth is, the permission was born in you. You're not looking for a way in. You are the opening. What you're seeking isn't hidden from you. It's hidden in you. That's why the answers feel like echoes of things you used to know. Things that surface not as information, but as recognition. Everything you need to build this life already lives within your bones. You are not tracing someone else's legacy. You're planting the beginning of your own. And though you may not have every detail, every answer, every certainty, you have something far greater. The courage to move before everything makes sense. So no, there is no map waiting to be handed to you. But that's only because you weren't born to read a map. You were born to become one. Every forward step, every inner yes, every risk you take in alignment with who you truly are, that's the shape of the path appearing beneath your feet. Not found, formed. The deeper your journey pulls you, the more the resistance rises to meet you. It's not coincidence, it's calibration. As your capacity expands, the pressure mounts, not to destroy you, but to reveal what's been buried beneath your survival. Old habits you thought you'd shed resurface. Memories you buried begin to whisper again. The doubt doesn't arrive to stop you. It shows up to ask, do you still believe, even now? This isn't punishment. It's a threshold, a testing of the foundation beneath your becoming. When your momentum builds, everything unsteady will tremble. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally doing something real. The edges you once avoided now demand to be faced, and the weight you once escaped returns, not to crush you, but to be carried consciously. First comes the inner confrontation. The mirror held close with no filters. It brings forward the parts you've hidden, the voices that mimic old fears, the ache of unhealed moments. You may feel like the air is thinner here, like everything familiar is slipping away. But this unveiling isn't meant to undo you. It's meant to show you the strength you've been building quietly all along. Then comes the quiet, not peace, but absence. You reach for support and feel none. You speak, and there's no reply. You wonder if the silence means abandonment, but it doesn't. It's a pause for recalibration. It's in this silence that your internal compass sharpens. With no crowd to echo your choices, you begin to listen deeper to that still, calm signal that never needed applause to be true. And finally, the hardest moment arrives. The leap. Not a leap of action, but of surrender. You're asked to move forward without the promise of safety, to say yes to a direction that offers no clear reward. Here, you'll be tempted to choose the route you know, even if it keeps you small. But growth doesn't bargain with comfort. It waits for courage. Every time you choose movement over stagnation, honesty over denial, trust over proof, you shift the ground beneath you. These moments are more than survival. They are alchemy. They refine you not just into someone who endures, but someone who embodies, someone who walks with the kind of authority that can only be earned through fire. What feels like pressure is actually permission. What feels like breaking is a rebuilding. This phase isn't here to stop your rise. It's here to prepare you for it. Not with shortcuts, but with truth. Not with ease, but with depth. The trial isn't proof that you're off path. It's proof that you're being shaped by it. And when the dust settles and your feet are still moving, you'll know. This wasn't just resistance. It was the making of someone who can hold the very thing they were called to carry. There comes a moment in the journey where all illusions dissolve. Not gently, but with the force of truth that refuses to be ignored. You stand at the edge of something that can't be described, only felt. A deep, undeniable pull to meet yourself without the armor, without the edits, without the rehearsed lines. Nothing outside of you holds meaning here, This is not about titles or roles or how others have defined your worth. It's about the raw, unfiltered presence that lives beneath it all. You've reached the threshold of inner reckoning, the place where the stories handed down to you, some inherited, some imposed, begin to fall apart. Here, you remember that before you learned to shrink, you came here with a fire, not a borrowed one, but your own. You remember that long before you were shaped by circumstance, you carried an inner code, not to conform, but to rise, to interrupt the repetition of patterns that never served your lineage, to change what was once unchangeable. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. This isn't a moment of reflection, it's a moment of reclamation. A moment where you don't just observe yourself, you reclaim every piece you gave away just to be accepted. Here, there is no space for pretending, only room for recognition. You step into your own presence as if meeting someone powerful for the first time. And maybe you are. You feel every truth your body stored, every dream you silenced, every instinct you were told to distrust. They all return, not as wounds, but as instructions. And then something unexpected happens. You begin to feel not just your own power, but the echo of those who came before you, not as shadows, but as support. Their struggles, their hopes, their untold desires, they surface in your bones. Their strength was never lost. It was waiting for someone willing to carry it forward differently. That someone is you. The name you wear, whether you've cherished it or questioned it, starts to reveal weight. Not the weight of burden, but of inheritance. You feel it shift from something given to something activated. The moments that once made you question your worth become proof of how far you've come. The pain no longer defines you. It affirms what you've overcome to still be standing. You realize now that everything, every silence, every ache, every rejection was preparation, not punishment. You weren't broken, you were being reassembled. The doubts didn't mean you were off track. They meant you were standing in a place the world rarely allows, truth untouched by expectation. You leave this place not as someone newly made, but as someone deeply remembered. The false layers fall away. The real essence remains. You don't walk away as a seeker. You walk forward as a force, certain, grounded, aligned. What was once hidden beneath fear now leads with clarity. This is more than a shift. It's a return to origin. Not where your story started on paper, but where your soul began its work. And from here, you don't just move forward, you rise, carrying a power that no one can name for you, because it was never given to you. It was you. And now, finally, it's free. There is a threshold that only reveals itself once everything familiar begins to fall away. Not from defeat, but from something deeper, an internal dismantling that feels more like a sacred unraveling than a collapse. You reach this place not by force, but by necessity. The framework that once held your identity can no longer contain the vastness of who you're becoming. The structure breaks, not to ruin you, but to release you. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. What begins to crack apart are the roles you were assigned to play. The polished versions of yourself built to survive, to be accepted, to avoid rejection. They slip off like old skin. The people pleaser, the perfectionist, the performer, none of them belong to you anymore. They were scaffolding, temporary, created to help you navigate a world that didn't yet know how to hold your truth. And now, that scaffolding is being stripped away by the weight of your own awakening. You're not building a new identity. You're uncovering the one that's always been waiting beneath the noise. There's no longer space to shrink, to hide behind approval, to speak half-truths in rooms that can't hold your fullness. Something ancient begins to stir beneath the surface. It doesn't ask for permission. It remembers, and it rises. You begin to sense that your evolution isn't only yours. It feels like memory passed down through breath, through blood, through stories that were never spoken, but still live in your cells. The burdens that shaped your family, the battles they fought in silence, they didn't end with them. They waited for someone willing to finish what they couldn't. Someone who wouldn't settle. Someone who could feel the weight and still walk forward. That someone is standing here now, not as a symbol of perfection, but as the living proof that healing is possible. You carry inside you the unspoken hopes of those who came before, their dreams of freedom, of expansion, of peace. Whether they said it or not, they hoped someone like you would come, someone who could break what needed breaking and build what had never been built. This isn't collapse, this is emergence. What's falling apart is the lie. What's rising is the truth. And the truth doesn't need validation to exist. It simply is. You're not stepping into a better version. You're stepping into the complete one. The one no longer shaped by scarcity, but by inheritance. The one that remembers you didn't come here to repeat cycles. You came to end them. Every wound has taught you. Every silence has shaped you. And now, you no longer carry just your story. You carry a lineage transformed. Your rise isn't singular. It is collective. When you lift others with you. Those beside you, those before you, and those not yet born. You become the link that rewrites what seemed unchangeable. This moment is not for shame. It is for recognition. You've survived what was meant to stop you. And now, nothing remains but truth. Not the borrowed kind. The kind that lives in your marrow. The kind that knows who you are, why you're here, and what you're meant to ignite. You don't just rise, you return, fully intact, fully seen, fully claimed. And in doing so, you become the legacy you were born to carry. It doesn't look like what they told you it would. There's no flash, no instant applause, no curtain being pulled back for some grand reveal. It begins as a shift so subtle, it almost escapes you. But something inside you starts holding firmer. Your pace becomes intentional. The way you take space changes. Not louder, but truer. And without asking for permission, you begin to embody the very essence that once felt out of reach. There's no need to announce it. Your presence does the speaking. It carries the weight of everything you've endured without bitterness, and everything you've remembered without regret. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You simply are, and that is more than enough. The clarity now radiating from within didn't come easily. It came from dismantling every illusion that once convinced you to play small. The ground beneath you senses it. Not metaphorically, viscerally. You've become grounded in a way that doesn't waver. You carry a stillness that silences chaos. When you speak now, it isn't about volume, it's about frequency. The voice you once questioned now holds the resonance of experience, not just survival, but wisdom, not just knowledge, but alignment. And something unexpected happens. People begin to awaken just by being near you. They feel the recalibration, even if they can't name it. They start remembering things they'd buried, parts of themselves they silenced, paths they were afraid to walk. You don't have to convince them of anything. Your transformation gives them silent permission to begin their own. Your alignment becomes their reminder. This rise isn't private, even if it began in solitude. The energy you now emit touches timelines far beyond your own. The choices you make realign patterns that have looped for generations. What you break now won't need to be broken again. What you build now becomes sacred foundation. Every time you choose truth over convenience, every time you don't retreat when fear whispers, the entire framework of what was begins to rewire itself. You're not just shaping your path, you're shaping the path for others. The healing you're living is the answer to hopes that were never voiced. The strength you found is what someone, somewhere, once dreamed a descendant might one day possess. You are the echo of prayers spoken in silence, the fulfillment of visions they never saw realized, but always believed could be. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in His divine mission and contribute to His greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, His protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of His sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like His mighty rock. Experience God's miracles. Feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. And still, your influence doesn't stop there. It flows forward, into futures you'll never witness, into generations who may never know your name, but will walk freer because of the stand you took. You're laying down what they'll stand on. You're carving out space in time so they can grow without the chains you had to shatter. They may not call it legacy, but it is. This isn't about spotlight, it's about impact. It's about what lives on when you're gone, about how your courage becomes their oxygen, your transformation becomes their inheritance, and the energy you now carry will ripple through the unseen for centuries. Not because you tried to be great, but because you finally allowed yourself to be whole. This is just the beginning. Hit subscribe now and step into your calling. Your breakthrough starts here. Some moments don't arrive with spectacle. They arrive with certainty, a quiet, inner click, a shift so rooted that nothing on the outside needs to confirm it. You've crossed into something irreversible, not because every challenge has vanished, but because you have changed. The strength you now carry doesn't shout, it doesn't perform. It simply moves, with purpose, with weight, with presence. That alone reshapes everything. This turning point doesn't need headlines or validation. It doesn't wait for acknowledgement from a world still caught in its own illusions. Most won't see the shift. Many will keep repeating stories you've long since outgrown. Some will look at you and still only recognize who you used to be. But that doesn't change what has awakened within you. The magnitude of this evolution isn't defined by how others respond. It's defined by the decision you've made to never go back. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. The choice to live aligned, to no longer dim or dilute or shrink, has activated a new current. That current travels far beyond your reach. Somewhere, someone will feel it, without knowing your name, without ever hearing your voice. Something in them will stir, and though they may not trace it back to you, they will stand taller because of it. They will begin to believe that change is possible, that their dreams are not foolish, that they are not forgotten. This shift wasn't created in a single instant. It's been building through each unseen choice, each moment you could have abandoned yourself, but didn't. You've been writing this revolution with your daily becoming, with the way you show up, the integrity you refuse to compromise, the love you extend even when it's hard. That's where the change lives. Not in declarations, but in demonstration. Your path has never been about retreat. You weren't made to disappear into what's familiar. You were wired to push forward, to create pathways where none existed, to illuminate what others were told to ignore.